Good evening and welcome to One-on-One with Tony J. Nakale on ECWA Television. Happy Independence once more, Nigerians. We are going to be looking at politics this evening. How far has politics moved us as a nation? Is it worth it? And we are going to be looking at, we will be diving into advocacy as well, to marry the two between politics and advocacy. And I have great people in the studio with me to do this. Today is Independence and we are celebrating. Is it worth it? Let's hear from the people that are on set with me. I have the General Secretary of ECWA, again, Reverend Yunusa Sabo Nmadu. Sir, you are welcome once more.
Thank you, Tony, and thanks for having me. Happy Independence, Nigerian.
I had you in the morning and it was a wonderful show, and I'm grateful that you still found time to come again. I have Chief Dr. Amos Gizo, somebody that is a household name in the politics of Nigeria, and he's aspiring for the position of the #1 man of Plateau State. He's a Plateau State gubernatorial candidate, and I'm privileged to have you on ECWA Television. Good evening and welcome, sir.
Thank you, Tony, for having me this evening.
Yes, sir.
And I'm privileged to be with you. Thank you.
Yeah. And another veteran politician on the plateau is Right Honorable Joshua Izam Madaki, the immediate past Speaker of Plateau State House of Assembly, who is also aspiring to be the Plateau State APC Chairman. God's willing. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah. I also have a very wonderful analyst with me, and also another media expert that we are blessed with in our ministry in ECWA. We have Dr. Sabastine Abu, the MD CEO of EPL, that's ECWA Productions Limited. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me, and congratulations to all Nigeria. Happy anniversary.
Yeah. Reverend Nmadu, how do you feel celebrating Nigeria at 61?
It's a mixed grill. Mixed grill in the sense that it's a combination of sadness and joy. Sadness, I mean joy, let me begin with the joy. Joy because we're advancing in age, 61. So when you're advancing in age, you celebrate anyway, whether there is food on the table or not. You just thank God that you've added another year. So for me, I am glad that we are still together as a nation, and that the nation Nigeria is still one nation, united, as it were. But sadness because at 61 we haven't exhibited the character of maturity that should be found in someone who is 61. If you have a man at 61 who is not yet married and hopes to be married, a man at 61 who has not finished his education and hopes to finish his education, a man at 61 who has never been employed, a man at 61 who cannot provide food for himself, then you know that hope is getting lost. I don't want to say hope is lost. And this is the situation of Nigeria. At 61, we are still grappling with those things that should have been of history. So for me, yeah, happy that we've added another year, but sad that things are not as they should be with our country.
Chief Amos Gizo, how do you feel celebrating Nigeria at 61?
Thank you very much. Thank God I was born before the 1960, before the independence. And I have witnessed series of things. Just to take a cue from the first speaker, there are some issues that, yes, we would say we've not grown. But personally, I differ a little. Looking at what Nigeria was, we rushed into the independence, and those who came and colonized us left abruptly. And they didn't do like the French. They didn't nurture us to grow. And they were not with us after independence. But on a serious note, I think for me to be alive now, and for those of us who are alive in the country, we've seen tremendous development in the country. We have a problem of the political will of leaders to know exactly what our problems are and how we can harness them. Harness the diversity in ethnicity for the progress of this country. We have twin problems that we should find a way of dealing with them. One, the problem of religion. Two, the problem of ethnicity. It is no longer the issue of North and South, because if you look at the political system, you discover that the agitations cut across the nation. I would say, in one hand, in other words, like he did say, that we have actually progressed tremendously in terms of education, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of development of industries. We can see that quite a lot of things are being done, but there is much to be done. And this can only come up when we have leaders who have the political will to drive our diversities to progress.
Wow, that's wonderful. Right Honorable, how do you feel celebrating Nigeria at 61?
Well, to God be the glory. Nigeria today is at 61 of independence. As far as my view about Nigeria at 61 is concerned, is still the rising expectation that citizens have from independence to date. We are still on that note, and the expectations, to all intents, we have not yet seen it come to materialize. And of course, instead of us realizing all the rising expectations we have as a nation, what we are now receiving is mounting frustration in exchange for what we expected to be after independence, in fact, even less than 60. But today we are at 61, and you can see the frustration is rising from all angles. Is it on the side of the insecurity? Is it on the side of expectation on governance entirely? The failure of institutions, and so many things that characterize our status as a nation. So at 61, it is our expectation that certain things we must get behind them, if only we must guarantee the existence of this country and forge ahead for good. Even though hopes are not lost, but we still call on those the authorities that matters to see reasons and put certain things behind us at 61. There are things that are so archaic for us to identify with them as a nation at 61. And except we attend to that level of realization, definitely the frustration will continue to mount on the citizens and the country in itself. And God forbid, we always pray that this country should remain indissoluble entity. But where certain things could not be addressed, those are the things that will certainly take us to a status whereby we will begin to have no choice than to continue to experience the challenges in even greater proportion than what it is now. So, but at 61, all hopes are not lost. We believe that we will strive for good from 61 and above.
All right, so Dr. Sabastine, how do you feel celebrating Nigeria at 61?
Yeah, I think the speakers before me have all expressed very deep concern for where we are. And I would like to start from the concluding part of our national anthem. It said, "A nation bound in freedom, peace, and unity." Are we, as a country, really been bounded in freedom? Are we united as a people? And if you look at this past 61 years, we've actually been struggling to even keep the country, Nigeria, together. And after all these years, one will expect that we'll have been able to, address all of these challenges that seem to threaten our unity. But here we are, still struggling with it. And we can also, if you follow the trend of the narrative in the past 1 year, there have been several agitations for the balkanization of this country. And why is it so? Again, I'd like to take a cue from what the second speaker, Chief Gizo, said earlier about the need for this country to go back to the drawing board on what leadership ought to be. I think our problems have been with leadership. And if you look at it very well, even though I beg to differ a bit from the point he made regarding the fact that we rushed into independence. We didn't. Those who colonized Nigeria, the British, the Great Britain, as it was called then, actually, if you look at between the time that Nigeria was colonized, was almost 80 years or so, dating back to 1872, before the Berlin Conference that eventually ceded the territory called Nigeria that we have today to Nigeria. You discover that between then and now, and the agitation, the nationalistic movement that eventually came up, was driven by very young people who were in their 20s. And they have a very clear vision about what they wanted to achieve. But in 1956, we also saw that, the colonialists also realized that, a segment of this country at that time seemed to be ready to have independence. And so they wanted independence, and they had given the deadline on when the British colonial masters should go. And what happened? You have a segment of the country who said, no, we are not ready. And that's precisely northern Nigeria at that time, who said we are not ready. And so they had to tarry a while till 1960 before they eventually handed over. So we can't say it was done in a rush. But be that as it may, let me also note quickly that what the British did rather was to say, okay, since you are the ones that started this agitation, we are not going to hand over power to you. And handed over power to someone or a region that was not ready for leadership. But again, we must also give, credit to even those that started, to provide leadership for this country. They did their best within the circumstances they found themselves. But again, if you look at it very carefully, they were all regional champions. They were not working towards, a country that is cohesive, a country that is willing to develop all the regions together and simultaneously. And so it was as a result of those agitations that eventually led to the first civil war, which ought not to in the first place for a nation so young like Nigeria. And since then, we've seen, even after this civil war, that we've really not forgiven each other. So we really cannot make any meaningful progress until there's that forgiveness from the heart, forgiveness from across the regions, and forgiveness from every aspect of the things that have continued to hold us back from giving our best to the country, so that we can continuously remain united as we desire and expressed in our national anthem, so that we can continue to make the progress that we want to make.
With all the contributions of how we feel about Nigeria at 61, watching this show at home, I think someone can almost guess the direction of the show, because all the points are almost together. The points are almost together. And I would like to ask Reverend Nmadu, his capacity here is as an advocate, a Christian advocate though, but not as a reverend. But be that as it may, I would like to ask, sir, what has been your challenge as an advocate with politicians?
Well, with politicians, I would need to segment the politicians. Again, like our elder brother here said, that the twin problem of our country is religion and ethnicity. I don't see us running away from religious identity. It has become us, and even ethnic identity. The only thing is that we do not use it for the negative purposes. The challenge with Christian politicians will be that Christians do not go into politics with their religion. They don't go into politics with their faith. Once a Christian who is very committed in church goes into politics, most of them become very cold towards religious activities, Christian activities. I give you an example. When we were going to begin the National Prayer Breakfast, our organization, Christian Solidarity Worldwide, was one of the 3 organizations that came together to ginger the National Assembly, the Christians in National Assembly, to begin the National Prayer Breakfast, which holds every last Thursday of October every year. I think they had the 10th or 11th edition some times ago. So we were able to champion that with Bible Society and CAN. But the first time we brought in some parliamentarians from the UK, very seasoned parliamentarians across parties, to come and talk to our people. It was hard bringing the Christians together to even begin to pray. And the first time they came for the meeting, most of them were looking at each other as aliens. Some were saying, "You mean you are a Christian? I've never thought you are a Christian." The Southerners didn't know that some people who had names like Saleh could be Christians, and so on, or because they wear Babanriga and wear cap, they couldn't have been Christians. So it was hard time bringing them together. And even up till this moment, as I speak to you, some of those people who are driving the program in the National Assembly will tell you that if Christians come together, they pray every Thursday. If they have good number, then it will be 4 legislators that will come together for prayer. So when you go to advocate for good governance, for good laws among this kind of people, and coming from the background of our own kind of advocacy, it's difficult because they are not there for the progress of their people, but perhaps for their own personal progress. But the story is quite different if you find Muslim politicians. When a Muslim practices Islam, and his practice of Islam is this big, when he gets position, he widens it. In other words, he carries his faith into politics. And I think this is what is missing. So the challenge is the challenge of Christians not knowing that their faith should permeate every sphere of their life. And then on the other hand, the Muslims overdoing it because they think that their position is the mosque.
Wow. They think that their position is the mosque. How has politics, this is Chief Gizo now, how has politics helped in Nigeria's predicament today, considering a politician as a president tagging all of his achievements? Because we have seen the achievement. Nobody needs anybody to rate the achievement of the present president of Nigeria. Everybody has seen his achievement. Everybody is feeling his achievement. Everybody knows his achievement. How has that helped us as a nation?
Thank you very much. The achievement of the president as to how
as a politician
is that there are certain constitutional provisions that are met, because every state must have a minister. We have representatives. I remember one time Mr. President did say, "I have put you in the office. Do the much you can ask for your own place." I thought that I was actually going to pick it up from our boss here, the ECWA General Secretary. The truth of the matter as regards our own faith, I'm a Christian, in being a politician, is that at the initial our church leaders did not encourage Christians to go into politics. And as opposed to our Muslim brothers, they have one brotherhood, which, just like he said, the mosque. If you go into an election, a day to election, they can decide that, okay, this is the candidate they will support, and they will all go in. They respect their leaders. The Christian politicians do not respect the Christian leaders like there are church leaders. They think they do things separately. I've not seen anything wrong that the church should call all aspirants who are of their faith. What can you do for the church, the growth of the church? Any faith will want the growth of his own faith. So I do not see anything bad about what the Muslims do. I only see it bad from the side of our own people. That is why when we sat and we now said, okay, we are going to go into a thing like this, we said first, we as a people should redefine our position. And let me put it wider into the issue of the entire country. I am an advocate that we should sit and redefine whether we should be one or whether we should go our separate ways. That thing has to be done on the table to redefine. When we redefine and we accept that we can go into reconstruction and we can restore the dreams of our forefathers. As for the present administration, there are certain basic things that you cannot give it up that he had not done. That is making sure that things, developments cut across the nation. If you even look at what is happening in the Igbo land, by votes they didn't vote him, yet he just failed. Since they are Nigeria, that means he really wants us to be what? He had sent in a lot of developments to that segment, I mean that part of the country. Even those that did vote, if you don't go to us and push it, let's take the case of the Middle Belt. I had been a person that has been agitating. We have the educationists, we have the soldiers, the generals, we have the food, but I was in the National Assembly about 30 something years back during Babangida, and we had a lot of quarrel when they said, okay, there should be road that will pass through Kaduna, Kano, Azare, Potiskum, Maiduguri, dualizing that road. When the real food and the soldiers and the whatever passed through here, why not from Abuja to Akwanga, Jos, Bauchi, Adamawa, and it goes. There is this differentiation that we really need to talk about. We are not talking as a people, and that is why we are having these problems. But certainly when you look at the railway, when you look at even looking at the issue of this thing that he did last year or so, making sure that the Nigerian product is being used within this place, making the real using Nigerian product, refusing the import of goods into this country. These are good things, but like I said earlier, it looks like the issue of security had become a mirage to us. Like we do not even know the solution to this thing, but we know the solution. There are certain aspects that have been said about the security which we have seen clearly that there is no proactive steps taken by our security chiefs. If someone said, look, so person is there, that person must be picked and questioned. So there are a lot of things that are yet to be touched. We hope that after today, now that we are facing, almost the last part of this. It can be achieved within the remaining 1.5 years that Mr. President.
Right Honorable, I would like to put the same question to you because I will need to have a different perspective to the question that I have asked him. How has politics helped Nigeria, considering that it is a politician that is leading or ruling Nigeria at the moment, and we have seen his antecedents? How has that helped Nigeria's predicament, or how is that helping Nigeria's predicament?
Well, to a large extent, I want to believe that politics have helped a lot in terms of developing this country better than how it was during the military. The simple essence is because in democracy, it has given room for participation and representation of interests of the citizens across all divides. And today, the development that we tend to see and witness is courtesy the platform that democracy gives to us as a people. And because you have representatives in the Executive Council, you also have representation at the different parliaments, and all positions at the federal, state, and local government, democratic institutions are all on ground. So I think our development politically is being enhanced by the level that we have to send people that we believe could effectively represent our interests. And that goes with the desired expectations on the development. So like you said, of course, today the president that we have is somebody that have dual advantage of experience. He was once an ex-military man, and today he is also a civilian president of this country. And that gives him all the advantage as far as knowledge of this country is concerned. He have had this country when he was head of state, and being privileged also to be a president. All the challenges of this country, I don't think there's any that is unknown to him as an individual. But politics definitely have helped in addressing a lot of our challenges as a nation when it comes to development. The only aspect that probably politics have not helped is this aspect of insecurity that we have been battling with as a nation over years now. And if you looked at the challenges of security in this country, I think, in my opinion, we need to look at it from different regional points of view, because the challenges are all not the same. And I accept we prefer some regional solutions to them before we now holistically say this is what is common to all. And we also prefer a separate solution to what is common to us as a nation. Then definitely we'll have a long way to go in trying to get it right when it comes to challenges that have to do with security.
Okay, I'd like to ask Mr. Sabastine Abu, Dr. Sabastine Abu, a question, but I would like the phone lines to be open right after the break. I'd like to take a very quick break, and when we are back, I'll start taking calls from you if you have any. So let's take a quick break, and I'll be right back. Thank you very much for staying tuned to ECWA Television Africa. We are looking at politics, how it has moved Nigeria forward. At the end, we will come to a conclusion. Is it worth it? So if you are watching this show, the phone line will be displayed on the screen in a second, and you can call and make your contribution. Dr. Sabastine Abu, can a politician put an end to the matters in Nigeria?
Yeah, I think the politicians can, if they truly see Nigeria as, a project that is worth investing in. When I say a project that is worth investing in, I'm saying a system that they desire wholeheartedly to selflessly serve to see the kind of progress that our forefathers, rather our founding fathers, envisaged from the very onset. You've raised, the Right Honorable here has raised a very, very vital point.
Yeah, good evening. We have a caller. Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
Please go ahead, make your contribution quickly.
Okay, I am Donald calling from Edo State.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So, according to the last spokesman, the Nigeria in politics, Nigeria problem, the Northerners bring their religion into politics. And that is the main thing that has been affecting this country, Nigeria. If they can push religion aside and bring out their good heart, see everybody as one, do things as supposed to, I believe that will be where we want to be. That's what.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Please go ahead. Doctor.
Thank you very much. Donald, the one who just spoke from Edo State, rather. That really was the point I was coming to. Politics is, the platform that actually provides opportunity for people to interact across party lines towards providing a very sound governance system. But unfortunately, like I said, when people do not see the Nigerian system as their project for which they want to see grow, and all we bring to the table always is about ethnicity and religion, then we cannot make progress along political lines or in politics. And so that's where we are, and that's what has been threatening even our unity. That you give somebody a responsibility, all he sees, for instance, is how can I, particularly those from the Islamic folk, to advance this religion. Imagine we're talking about agriculture. How do we grow our food, sufficient food production in the country? And you find a minister investing over 20 million naira for the building of a mosque.
Wow. So, good evening. Sorry. Good evening. Welcome to the show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Okay, I'm Nmadu.
From where, sir?
I'm calling from Edo.
Okay, Emmanuel, you are welcome to the show. Please quickly make your contribution.
Okay, my goes like Nigeria, I just comment a little bit.
Emmanuel, your line is breaking. If you can hear us, please call us back. Please go ahead, make your contribution.
So you now find the Ministry of Agriculture who ought to be investing money in people or in farmers who want to grow food, putting in over 20 million for the building of a mosque. Its justification is that these people are displaced people and they are farmers who have been relocated and who needs to, continue their agricultural services and needs to worship. And so if you juxtapose that with the amount of money given or encouraging the people to invest in farming, it's really nothing. And so this is what we are talking about. And today we are experiencing very high costs of food, because while our population is growing, right, our food production is also going down because of the insurgency that is going on, the insecurity. People can no longer go to their farms. And I'm glad in your second round of questions that you talked about the achievement of this administration. And you can't not divorce this administration from the mismanagement, particularly in terms of our diversities. It has really not been this bad. It has really, really not been bad. And I'm glad, even in his national address today, that he talked about the most difficult period in the last 18 months. And this is all as a result of the discord of unity that he started sowing right from the beginning of his administration.
Hello. Good evening. Go ahead. Who is on the line?
Yes, I am Christian. What?
You are who?
Yes, what I need to say that Kinsley.
Go ahead, Kingsley.
Okay. Please, we should. The line is much.
his radio is on.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. So the point I'm making is, from the very onset of his administration, he made it very clear, even though in his speech he said he's for everybody and he's for nobody. But his actions, the way he went about appointing people to take, very key position, are completely different. And so we saw that within the security sector, we saw that within the oil sector, we saw that in every sensitive agencies in this country. And where are we? Has he not made any meaningful progress with all of the people who are occupying these positions? Rather, it is individuals who have enriched themselves, and we have majority of even the northerners remaining poor today. Even those who have empowered themselves in terms of wealth cannot visit their own, their hometowns and villages. And so that's the problem we have. So you talk about within the security sector, it's the same.
Hello?
And hello, good evening and welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Mr. Silas from Abuja.
Okay, Silas, how are you?
Fine, sir.
Please go ahead with your contribution.
I really want to appreciate your program over there. I've been following people out today.
Thank you.
And quickly, I want to say congratulations, Nigeria at 61. We believe the land is ours and we will never give up. But even the challenges that we are facing in the country, I want to salute my elders over there for the good contribution. I want to go to the General Secretary. I want to back what he said, concerned about bringing the Christians.
Okay, we lost Mr. Silas there. Not to death, but to network. So if you are still watching, you can call us back.
So the point I'm making is that we now have a situation where even the Minister of Defense is going around with an AK-47, who came up openly to tell Nigerians, look, go defend yourselves. Today we are celebrating independence. A lot of the villages, particularly in southern Kaduna, in Miango area, around the Birom villages, are all sleeping in the bushes because they have to find a way of protecting their communities. Only a few days ago, over 50 people were buried in southern Kaduna. So what are we talking about? You go to Kogi, where I come from, for instance, my people can't go to the farms. And these are all agrarian areas. And so we really need to go back again to the drawing board for leaders to be humble enough to apologize to the people and to take responsibility and to be seen to doing the right thing to bring people together. And it will begin first by having made that apology very publicly, that we begin to see how we can bring the country together to discuss the way forward. And I'm glad that Chief Gizo mentioned that. We have reached the point in this country where we must discuss and agree on our journey together as a people and as a country. Because there has been so much mistrust along the various regions of this country. And so until that is done, the suspicion will continue. And so long as there is no trust and that people cannot work together, there is going to be very difficult to make any meaningful progress.
Okay, I think we have a caller, but we're struggling with the line. I would like to ask the General Secretary this question. Had leaders been able to take up their responsibilities, what work would be left for advocacy? Hello, good evening and welcome to the show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm the someone from Ghana.
Say that again.
I'm someone from Ghana.
Okay, Samuel from Ghana.
Someone, Ghana.
Okay, go ahead, make your contribution.
Yeah. Well, thank you, my brother. I mentioned your comment, and so I just want to appreciate what you're doing. But I want to make my contribution in favor of what my brother is saying. The big man, the chief, he says that Nigeria should talk about whether to stand or to agree. I am asking, who and who will talk about where to stand or where to stand. Is it not better for we as a Christian, as a Muslim, to ask ourselves a question, where will we start before next year's celebration? If we can next year ago, we come up and say the year is celebrating birthday. Please, I ask, I'm pleading that let Nigeria years for the Christian, for the Muslim, to go in their mosques, in their churches, and ask before next year celebration, where will it, what will we do? Where will we start? What will be our achievement? So that in the year celebrating 60 to 2 years, so this is what you achieve after 61 years. Thank you. God bless you.
You're welcome. Thank you for the contribution. I think that's the last call we would take so that we can be able to round off the show. So, sir, I was asking, had the leaders been able to do or take their responsibilities well, what work will be left for advocacy in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you. Just before I quickly answer that question, I like to respond to what my brother Honorable Izan talked about when he said that politics has brought about development to the country. And I am asking, what politics is democracy, isn't it? How has democracy been radically different from
the military
from military rule? If all that democracy we are hoping for is to build roads, the military built roads. If it is to build hospitals, the military built the biggest hospital in Nigeria, which is the National Hospital in Abuja. It was built by military administration.
I think General Abacha, right?
Yes, they built schools. Perhaps they probably built more of such infrastructures more than those who have ruled us under democracy. But there's a point that he made, which I think is very valid, that politics has given us the opportunity for representation. And I think that's where we are getting it wrong. Because, yes, politics is supposed to give a platform for wider representation, which military rule will not give. But the representatives are not representing anyone. They are representing themselves. And that is why the effect of politics in Nigeria is not being felt. Because if you elect me today into any position, then I represent myself, at best my family, and if I'm very generous enough, my clan. And it stops there. But if we have understood that politics is a game of representation, that is where we get the dividend of democracy. Now, going back to the question that you asked, advocacy is in various and many ways. The kind of advocacy that we do in CSW is human rights advocacy. And no matter how good a government is, you will always have something to advocate for. You will always have something to advocate for. For instance, before this insecurity, we were advocating for places where Christians cannot have land to build churches. Christians cannot, Christian children cannot go to school if they bear Christian names, except they change their Christian names, to Muslim names. Let's be very pointed about it. They do not have social amenities. They cannot get employment. They cannot get choice courses in schools. So some of these things looks as if they've died down. They haven't. It's only because we are grappling with something that is higher, the insecurity and the rest. But these things have been there right from the very beginning of this country. They are enlarging, and more, duty bearers and state actors are beginning to yield more to such discrimination against people of faith. And so where your faith is the minority, you get surcharged. So no matter how good our leaders are, there will always be something to advocate for.
Okay, that's great. Let me quickly come to Chief Amos Gizo. You are contesting a gubernatorial seat on the plateau. Why is that? In just a minute.
Okay. Thank you very much. But quickly, let me just say something.
We have just a minute, sir.
Yes, let me just say, use some seconds to say something on the issue of the response from the General Secretary to the Right Honorable Speaker. I agree that our representatives are not representing us well. Another issue too is that the people make the representatives not to represent us well. And how? They have monetized politics. I want to state clearly that the time I went to the National Assembly in 1988, I didn't spend any money. I was called from the classroom and sent there. So I worked for the people, and that is what is working for me. I have seen it all in terms of where we've got it wrong. My purpose is to come in here. A very good Muslim will not hate a Christian. We've had teachings, we've had preachings from very good Muslims that there should be there is nothing like hating a Christian. A very good Christian will not hate a Muslim. Because if in Christianity it has gone even further to state that love your enemy as you love yourself. So it has gone further. So where we have it wrong is at the selfish point of view. And I put it more on radical preachers, both sides. I put it more on them. Then quickly, the problem that is not even mentioned here is the constitutional provision which allows for quota system as against merit. If we have our way, I am an advocacy of the fact that every form in Nigeria should remove religion and should remove tribe. Let us look at it. You are a Nigerian, you are a Nigerian. And this is the kind of thing, by the special grace of God, when I am able to get through, that I want to start with Plateau and it will go over the country. I come from a family where my seniors are Muslims. I am a Christian and I will die a Christian, and I will protect the Christian faith, but at the same time the responsibility of a leader is to protect everybody. So I will definitely make conscientious efforts to see that where we got it wrong from 2001, that we correct the wrongs.
Wow. Okay, we have comments on our social media platform. I'll just read the one that is staring at me. I think we need to rethink the words put in our national anthem and pledge. If we would truly work to turn things out, especially turn things to truly reflect the words, then truly Nigeria will rise again. Even when hope is seemingly lost, we will still trust that Nigeria will rise again. But we, the young people, must be deliberately about, I'm sure he's trying to say must be deliberate about this changing the narrative of the present predicament of our nation. God bless and thanks for the engaging conversation, ECWA TV to the world. Do we have another comment there? Okay, I think that's the only comment we have so far. I would have, time has just flown. I would like to take one minute. Is politics worth it? 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute.
Yeah, politics is worth it. As far as I'm concerned, politics is worth it because it is in politics that we all can have the freedom to express and practicalize and realize all our ambitions as individuals. So, and that must be done with having the overall interest of the nation at heart. So, with politics and with the interest of the nation at heart, I believe our lot will be better as a people and as a nation in no distant future.
Dr. Sabastine, is politics worth it?
Politics is worth it only if we redefine the principles. And the principle here has to be, ensuring an interaction that is sincerely geared towards progress and geared towards taking everybody that is a Nigerian on board in the project of developing this country. And that is what differentiates democracy from military regimes that we've experienced all this while. So on this 61 anniversary of Nigeria, I want to encourage that as a people we must not give up on this country, and that we must not give up on ourselves, and we must continue to interact and let our interactions be objective, let them be sincere, and let us continue to keep the hope alive.
Is politics worth it?
Politics is worth it seriously because one, it gives equal representation, and if you have a voice, if you are really representing your people, the minorities have always have their own voices heard. Two, it's a government, like I earlier said, it has to give equal opportunities to the components. In Plateau State, all the local governments have commissioners, all. But look at during the military, I remember during Babangida, Langtang local government alone had 7 appointees, 3 ministers. It cannot happen in politics. So I cannot compare. The worst political administration is better than the best military administration.
Buhari had almost everybody in his cabinet as Fulani. Is that not worse than military regime?
But he picked them from other places.
Is that the only tribe in Nigeria?
And of course you should know that he has a military background. A real politician will not do that. I will not do that. I had said, and let me say clearly, people will be surprised if God does make it. Southern Kaduna people will be in my cabinet. Igbos will be, South will be, Fulanis will be, Yorubas will be.
That's if you emerge.
If I emerge, they will be in my cabinet. Because most of these people have developed Plateau more than the indigenous. The indigenous will have it because it's theirs. But if all they are saying is that we will not bring other people for unity of this state, I am not for that.
Okay. And as well, Plateau people are watching the show too.
I know that they are watching. Right. I would say they will be part of the cabinet.
Yes. Okay.
Babalar did it, and it was very successful. There's nothing. We are one, for God's sake. And I cannot just accept my own brother who is not thinking about the development of this place, and somebody coming somewhere and he's developing the place, and you say he's not going to take out of the state. I differ with that.
He said Buhari was also
of course.
And it reminds me of a story that the governor told us on Sunday. You were there. He said that he ran to a military general and said, please, my people are complaining that the armies are taking away our wives. And then the military general told him, go and tell them to live in peace so that the armies will not take your wives. Because the military, they left their wives at home and they are forced to come to your state and work for you. So if you are military and you want to serve in Nigeria, I think you should leave that military thing outside and come and serve Nigerians. Yes. Sir, 1 minute. Is democracy worth it, or politics? Is it worth it?
Yeah, politics is worth it, and there is no right-thinking person in Nigeria who will say politics is not worth it, because politics as a game brings about democracy, and world over, democracy is the in thing, and we cannot be an island as a nation. If we want to belong to the Committee of Nations, then we must belong. But like my brothers have said, we have to redefine what we do in politics. We cannot be having military rule and just put the garment of politics or democracy to it. That is making a caricature of the whole thing. So yes, politics is worth it only when we begin to play according to the game.
Thank you for joining us on the show. It has been Hope for Nigeria on ECWA Television. Of course, we are celebrating Nigeria at 61, and we looked at politics as well as advocacy, and I think it was really worth the while. Thank you very much for joining ECWA Television. We still have fresh shows coming all the way till 8 o'clock, so you do yourself good to stay tuned. Thank you to all the callers, and thank you to all those who contributed on social media. Thank you to Dr. Sabastine Abu. Thank you to Right Honorable Joshua Izang. Thank you to Chief Amos Gizo. I wish you the best in your political journey. And thank you to our amiable ECWA General Secretary. I remain Tony J. Nakale on behalf of ECWA Television staff. When we see you next time. Bye-bye.